you think that a lot of people need to die?
Need to die.
You do?
Yeah, I
Personally?
do. Yeah, I do. I do. I think the difficult aspect of that. I mean, like, idealistically, no. We could all transform our minds into being productive citizens that are all fueling this utopia towards the greatest state. But realistically, the natural resources are limited at this point in time, and we are not doing those that are less fortunate than us a service by creating jobs that are just barely making these people able to survive, because their quality of life, because the contradictory nature of survival leads people to believe that any possible glimpse or grain of potential in their life should lead them to work as hard as they can to realize that potential. But some societies in third world countries promote this means of hope that doesn't really exist within an economy that allows first world nations to come in and institute factories that allows them to make just barely enough to feed their family, enough to survive, to continue to work for our benefit and our greed. And I believe that the profit motive is too high, that what needs to happen is that these sweatshops, they just need to be exposed and they need to shut down. And what happens when that happens is just fucking people die, because that's just what happens. If you shut down the means of support for an individual's survival, then that person dies. And
that's a really, really touchy situation.
They just need to die. I mean, like, the quality of their life, I'm not one to push past judgment, but they consider their own quality of life to be piss poor. And
well, no, then I'd say that they need educational programs to get them relearning how to work the land, or relearning how to be able to set up a sustainable.
Sure.
You can't just go in and take out their only.
You can't remove the Nike sweatshop because it's going to kill these people, but by keeping it in business, we are perpetuating their
right, but
ideologies.
I'm just saying you need to do something. You need to set up something in that.
It's like the factory farming thing. It's like, yo, you know, like I get this thrown at me all the time. You know, if everybody believed as you did that fucking that you know, factory farming is negative, that there wouldn't be any cows any longer. And I'm like, fine, get rid of the cows. Get rid of the cows. Let the cows go extinct, because their current quality of life is fucking slavery. And I don't think it's right to put a species of animal through slavery. I would rather be dead than have to constantly contribute my efforts towards no hope except for false, fake hope pushed upon me by a society that is profiting off me.
Well, let's step back for a second.
They can't walk. I mean, like now.
Hold on one second. Here, let's take that idea that you just had, and let's step back and look at that. This is a universal perspective, right?
Sure.
We are, in a sense, slaves of our own lives.
What is slavery in that sense? Like, how do you define slavery?
Well, I'm just saying, we are, in a sense, trapped in this situation of living, right? This cycle of living.
Yeah, but this cycle isn't bad right now. Like, we're able to make this video, you know, and like drive in this car and go eat vegan food and like be like gung ho, like the world is like we just had a fucking awesome day, right?
Yeah, it was great, but you know what? I don't want to do that. I want to go explore the other realms of possibility. I want to expand my mind.
Okay, I see what you're saying, and we're not capable of doing that right now.
Right.
Okay, all right, so continue. So I understand now. I had to break that down because I didn't understand. But now that I understand that we are slaves by our own means.
Because we are limited by our own bodies and our own perception of the world.
Okay. Sure.
So,
with that being said,
does that mean that you want to die? Or does that mean that you just are comfortable with this degree of slavery? See, people could be completely comfortable with that degree of slavery in those conditions.
I am... But when an individual claims that they want a ton more for themselves, then they'll be able to accomplish. That's when it becomes an uncomfortable situation, and people living in discomfort. See, I acknowledge that I live a great deal of comfort, and that is comfort that I willingly and selfishly will not denounce, because I don't have the means to denounce it in order to trade it up for something greater than that. Like, if I did, then sure, I might acknowledge the possibility of trading my level of existence in order to help others. In fact, I would. If that possibility lent itself to me and I could trade down my level of comfort to bring a majority of comfort for others up, yeah, I would. But you know what? I don't. So that is a limitation that we're going to have to force people to see, that to give up, that the potential is there if people are willing to make that sacrifice. But in order to achieve a level where that sacrifice will actually mean something, it's going to take great effort and perseverance. So what I'm asking for in the ultimate spectrum of this moment is for people to come together to, and it's a great deal to ask, but I'm asking for people to come together to create a system where people will be asked to sacrifice for the greater good, which ultimately means that temporarily what we're doing is asking people to sacrifice a level of their comfort for a better society as a whole, which will lead them to be happier, but it's going to take time, and it may not manifest within our lifetimes, to be honest. Like, we may have to drop down a level of comfort temporarily to be able to give to the future generations. We have to be selfless in that sense. And
I agree with that.
But in order to do so, you have to create a model to explain to people how it's going to be beneficial to the future generations. Because if you're just asking people to sacrifice without a model, people won't be able to comprehend what the fuck you're talking about. So what I'm asking for is for people to give up, because it's a direct outcome and byproduct of our comfort that people are forced to suffer, and that's what it is. So unless we are comfortable with these people just dying, which obviously you're not, because you took exception with that, then the method by which we alleviate that is that you and I have to sacrifice a lot in order to get there. And I'm willing to do it, but I need to see it's catch-22. I need to see that the majority of people are also willing to make that sacrifice in order to bring about great change in this world. And because I don't see the potential for the majority of people to come about doing that, I believe that people do need to die in order for us to take a look at that land and reevaluate that situation, because we can't go into a land that is already inhabited and break through to these people. It's a lot less effort to go in there and say, okay, well, we can see a greater potential for this land. So what we need to do is we need to force consumers to
Stop consuming.
To stop consuming that shit, which ultimately will lead to the deaths of these people.
Exactly.
Which is an unfortunate circumstance. I'm not saying that it's great fortune for these people to be alleviated from their dire circumstances. But, and it's super unfortunate. Like we can't deny that the world that we live in is somewhat unfortunate. Otherwise, I would not be having this conversation with you, because I would be completely comfortable in the world in which we live. But
the fact is, we aren't comfortable.
The fact is that I'm not comfortable knowing that other people are uncomfortable.